All right, man. It's easy to overreact over way too early results and statistics and things like that, especially in the first week or two of the season. But unfortunately, that's exactly what we're doing in this video. Clear example, the Minnesota Timberwolves starting their season out 3-1, which, as you guys could imagine, got me extremely excited. But since then, they've kind of reverted back to what we known them to be. Defensively, they began the season looking way more attentive and active, way better rotations and recovery, and they just played with a sense of feistiness that I'm not really used to. But it's easy to look good on that beginning of the season high when everything is clicking and honestly, you're just excited to play basketball again. How you finish, specifically when things aren't going your way, that's everything. James Harden, the first player on this list, he knows a ton about this. This season, as we all should know, there's been a heavy emphasis on no foul calls on non-basketball moves, something that I've personally loved. Basically those moves that players like James Harden, Trae Young, and others, they've mastered not really to attack the basket looking to score, but specifically to draw fouls. It really wasn't basketball and people hated it. Now, there has been some mixed emotions with fans, thinking some players are being targeted, which they are, let's be honest, they are. But I feel like for the most part, as fans, we're happy to watch games not halted every other play by some ticky-tack foul. This is something that James Harden has to make a massive adjustment to because as we all know, his game is like 70% by the line. Like, let's be honest, he plays by the whistle. Defenders in the past literally had to guard this man with their hands behind their back just to avoid some initiated intentional contact from James Harden, the offensive player. Over the last 4 years, James Harden has shot 400 more free throws over anybody else in this league. And if you take Giannis out, bro, he's almost 1,000 cleared of the next person. That's crazy, especially from a guard. So now, bringing it up to this season, James Harden's productivity has taken a massive dip and is directly correlated to the rule changes, obviously. This season, James Harden is only averaging 18 points per game on pretty terrible splits without Kyrie, and the eye-opener of them all, only 5 free throws a game, and that's with him just shooting 19. This is a guy that, in his Houston years where he really just controlled the league at least offensively, 6 times this man averaged more free throws made than field goals made. 6 times. For y'all that don't understand the significance of that, that's extremely abnormal. This is why I never really bought into the whole conversation of is Harden the best scorer ever over players like Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, things like that. Because statistically, yeah, you can make the argument, but to the eye, to people that actually watched, bro, those guys did it naturally, and Harden, he pretty much abused the system, and I'm not mad at him for it, he did it, but I mean, come on, man. For his career, he averages more free throws made per game than field goals made per game. So again, I don't really buy into that conversation. Also, something that I feel like is kind of underrated when people talk about this conversation is James Harden has to be in tip-top shape this year, and if not, they're probably not going to win. This year, and this is why I love this season, man, I'm being honest, he's not really allowed to just come into the year heavy and play his way in shape while sustaining his averages through the whistle. Now, even the pace of the game becomes more of a factor where there's less time to just stop and watch a guy shoot a free throw every other play. Now, it's more of a cardio race. Remember last year when James Harden came into the season all out of shape and he missed the first few games with Houston and all that, and in his first game he scored 44 points? Well, 16 of them came from the line, and in his first 3 games, he averaged 12 free throws a game. You can't just play your way in shape this year going to the free throw line over and over again. It's different. So, like I said, I like the rule, and Harden, he's going to have to make that adjustment. Next, and bro, this pains me to do this. This is my favorite player, but DAngelo Russell. Look, man, even as a fan of you, there's only so much I can take and continue to support you. Like, it is getting harder. In my bold predictions video, I said that Minnesota could make the playoffs, and I pointed out how Cat and D'Lo, they haven't really seen the floor together a lot, and when they have, it's been relatively positive. I kept seeing D'Lo's name and trade rumors and stuff like that, and I always thought it was a little premature to give up on him or what they have because you don't even know, you haven't really seen it. But this season, and like I said, it's early, so I'm not completely giving up. Maybe this is a little hyperbolic and all that. Maybe it's my emotions. It's just not clicking with D'Lo and the rest of the team, and I don't know exactly what it is. I can clearly see the impact of Patrick Beverley and how infectious his energy has been for this team defensively. After being 28th last year in defensive rating, they've skyrocketed all the way up to 7th. And if you watch this team like I have in the past, I ain't gonna lie, only because of D'Lo, you know that's a massive leap. However, with DAngelo Russell, he's been extremely inconsistent with his shooting and scoring, which has been a lingering problem throughout his career, I ain't gonna lie. And even the good moments they've had this year is kind of come at the expense of his efficiencies. So far this year, and this pains me to say, bro, it does, but he's averaging the lowest points per game since his rookie year, his lowest assists per game since his rookie year. He doesn't attack the basket. His free throw rate is below league average. And his non-contributions is definitely hurting this team. His offensive box plus minus, which should be good. I mean, he's not a great defender, but offensively, that's his specialty. Shot creation and playmaking and things like that. He's 8th on the team, down there with one of the lowest out of all the starters. Defensively, we all know he's pretty bad there. He's 10th. His value over replacement, which is basically the estimates of points per 100 possessions a player contributed compared to a bad player on another team or a below average player. Kind of hard to explain, but it pretty much shows if you're even more valuable than a bad player on another team. And so far, he hasn't been. He's 14th on his own team, and he's getting paid the second most on this team, but that's terrible. Then add the fact that he just got hurt last night, which I'm not blaming him for, nothing like that. That's obviously not his fault, but he did miss damn near half the season last year, and it's just getting ugly, bro. I can see why, Timberwolves fans, they want Ben Simmons over him. I get it now, I ain't gonna lie. Jayson Tatum is a hard player for me to put on here because I always felt like his upside is just ridiculous. Now, I do believe he will be fine as the season prolongs, but his struggles early on this year has been a little bit concerning. After getting steamrolled by Chicago last night in the fourth quarter, a game in which they led by 14 entering the fourth quarter and ultimately lost by 14, I don't even know how that happens. But Marcus Smart, he boldly came out, and in my opinion, he said some facts about Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now, I'm not a Celtics fan, but if I were, I definitely wouldn't like Marcus Smart bringing what should be an in-house conversation to the public, like how y'all can get mad at Kyrie and then start doing the same stuff Kyrie was doing when he was there. But the synopsis of what he was saying honestly did hold some weight. Right now, the Boston Celtics are 13th in team assists per game, which honestly isn't that bad. That's above league average, obviously. But what makes Jayson Tatum look bad specifically on his team, right now, he has a 32% usage rate. That's 7th in the entire league. Out of everybody in the top 10 that actually starts as far as usage rate right now, the leaders, he averages the least amount of assists, and he's below players like Joel Embiid. Bro, that's pretty bad. You can't have the player that's dictating your offense the majority of the time, never sharing the wealth or creating for others. Like, that's not efficient offense, and that's where I do agree with Marcus Smart. Also, Jayson Tatum right now is averaging 25 points per game, but he's doing it on a league high 24 shots per game. So it's not the most efficient, and you can see why his teammates, they're probably a little frustrated with him. Again, it's extremely early, and all of this, I'm aware, is probably a bit of an overreaction. But in order to get some type of momentum in this much improved Eastern Conference, they have to tighten up that defense. You can't blame Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown for everything. Defensively, y'all blew that fourth quarter and y'all ranked damn near last in almost everything. So that's not Jayson Tatum solely. And 2, they have to be a much more well-rounded offense. It just can't be Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, take turn like that. That doesn't work. Damian Lillard this year has been struggling, and that's pretty much putting it nicely. This year, and I just seen this stat and I was honestly blown away, he's having the worst 3-point shooting 7-game stretch to open up the season ever, like literally ever. Also, and we all know why, he's not getting to the line as much as he used to, so he's not really getting those cheap ones. Now, I haven't really watched a ton of Portland games this year, I'm not even gonna lie, but I think I have a little bit of an idea of why he may be struggling. Chauncey Billups is their new head coach, and as we all should know, Chauncey Billups won a championship on a pass-centric team where ball movement was pivotal in their run. They didn't really rely heavily on one sole player. I do believe Chauncey Billups, being the great basketball mind that I believe he is, he probably came into the season with the mindset of, let's make this offense less Dame-centric, with Dame running a high pick and roll and shooting a logo 3, and then next we pass it to CJ McCollum and he break you down off the dribble. Kind of the same thing what I was just talking about with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Let's make it less about that and more pass-centric. Last year, they ranked dead last in team assists per game. Dead last. That just can't happen with teams that want to go far. Look at the teams they were around. As much as we compare Stephen Curry and Dame and their 3-point shots and, you know, the logos and all that stuff, look at how different they do it. The Warriors, they're ranked first. The Portland Trailblazers, they're ranked dead last. Look at the shot percentage of Stephen Curry's off assists and Dame off assists. It's like a significant difference. Even so far this year, and like I said, I know it's early, and I'm gonna keep saying that before people try to tell me that in the comments, bro. I know. Even so far this year, his usage rate is the lowest it's been since the year they made the conference finals. So right now, I feel like Chauncey and Dame, they're slowly trying to find that balance of not allowing Dame's heroics and his logo threes and all that stuff to not completely take over the team where everybody else is basically bystanders. We all remember Game 5 last year against Denver where he scored 55 points and everybody else basically watched. It's cool, it's good for Dame's stats, but it doesn't work, it doesn't win. They're trying to find a balance of not relying solely on that, hence why Dame is averaging the most assists per game of his career right now with 8.6, and not completely fitting Dame into a box where Dame can't be Dame. You got to let him be free and shoot those shots because that's what makes Dame Dame. Once Dame kind of maneuvers through that and figure that out, which I'm not going to say they're going to win a championship or possibly not even make the playoffs, but Dame will be fine. I'm not too concerned with Dame. De'Aaron Fox is the last player on this list that I want to talk about. Another one of my favorite players, immensely struggling right now. After literally just having a career year last year with career highs and damn near everything and getting paid like a franchise player that I know he is, right now he's struggling with damn near all facets of the game. Offensively, defensively, free throw wise, turnover wise, everywhere he's a bit of a mess. I always feel like I know with relatively good shooters, I always feel like I know when it's mental, when it slowly but surely creeps into your free throw percentages. That's why with a player like Russell Westbrook, when his free throws plummeted after being a great free throw shooter, that's kind of when I knew, okay, he's struggling with the mental part of his shot. Also, last year in the playoffs with Ben Simmons. That's why with Dame, even though he's struggling, I know it's more about the quality of the looks that he's getting and likely the adjustment to Chauncey Billups' style. If his free throws plummeted after being great like he was, that's when I would be concerned. That's why I know Dame will be fine. But De'Aaron, while he's never really been a great free throw shooter, he's become this year a below average free throw shooter. And that's why I feel like his is more so mental. Even though De'Aaron has been struggling to get into a rhythm this year, they have been pretty blessed to still be at 500 with Harrison Barnes and Rashawn Holmes pretty much picking up the slack that De'Aaron Fox has been lacking. Last year, and this is how I know De'Aaron Fox right now, for some reason he's just not right. Last year, he made a living for the Kings pretty much being clutch all last year in the fourth quarter. Last year, he averaged the 4th most points in the fourth quarter all last year. This year, he's dropped all the way to like 120th or something like that. And in their last loss against Dallas, they lost by 6 points, and De'Aaron Fox had 0 points in the fourth quarter. Imagine if they had that 7 that he averaged in the fourth quarter last year. Also defensively, it's not like De'Aaron was a great defender to begin with or anything like that, but he's damn near at the bottom in defensive box plus minus. So right now, his total game is pretty much a mess, and he's just not right. And I think he'll get it together, but right now, like I said, he's struggling. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys like this video. Most of these players on this list are some of my favorite players in this league, so this was kind of tough for me to make, but like I always say, bro, it must be done. Make sure you guys follow my social media sites, turn on post notifications, do all that great stuff, guys, and until next time, as always, stay tuned.